welcome back to Moonli. I hope everyone's having a really good week. I got a new couch and I love it. I still have my other couch over there, but I love this couch. It looks so nice. But today I'm going to talk about something I had you guys vote on. So last week I actually had you guys vote on what you wanted my YouTube video to be on. So today I'm going to talk about how I advocated for myself going to the doctors to get an endometriosis diagnosis after 12 years of being either told it's all in my head or that my pain was normal and I just need to stay on the hormonal birth control pill and suck it up. So today we're going to talk about a really important topic, and here we go. So the first thing I want to make clear for everyone is that you should not have to advocate for yourself at the doctor's office. You should be able to go to the doctor's office and say what your issue is, and they are meant to look into it and have compassion and sympathy for what you are going through. So no, this YouTube video should not be necessary, but unfortunately it is. And there's several reasons for this. You shouldn't have to worry about going in the doctor's office to be dismissed. So many of us have been dismissed, especially women and women of color. We're used to going in and just being like pouring out our symptoms, pouring out everything we're feeling, doctors just being like, you're fine, get over it. That's not normal, and that shouldn't be considered normal, and doctors should be trained to have compassion and sympathy and actually look into root causes rather than just saying, here's something that's going to cover up that issue so you don't have a symptom, but your body is still talking to you about an issue that is going on with your body. Also, pain shouldn't be normalized. So many of us have been told, oh, your pain's in your head, or if you have pain, there's really not much we can do about it. Pain is so normalized in the medical system, unfortunately, especially for those of us with endo. Many of us have gone to the emergency room and people are just like, oh yeah, she's just being dramatic. No, we're actually in pain. Obviously, there's some endo people out there that don't get any pain with their symptoms, but it doesn't mean that that endo isn't creating havoc in their body. Like, there could be a symptom that's so minor, but because we're so used to going to the doctor and doctors be like, your pain's normal, stop fussing, that shouldn't be okay. And lastly, the other reason we have an issue with this is that medical systems haven't, how do I word this? Medical systems have not prioritized women, especially women-based issues. And then if you're a woman of color, you're even farther to the bottom. So they actually didn't start using women in studies until the 1990s. So anything prior to that, they just assumed we were little men with uteruses, which is what many doctors and medical systems still think we are. We're not little men with uteruses. We are completely different. We're completely separate, and we have a functioning body. And that there needs to be more research and more funding into how our systems are looked at, especially endometriosis. They're doing an immense amount of research now, which is fabulous, but let's stop prescribing things like chemotherapy treatments to deal with our pains. Let's look for real causes. What is causing endometriosis? Not, okay, here are the symptoms, how can we cover up? So please start funding to find the root cause, and then start funding to find real treatments, not treatments that are going to give us other side effects and other issues. Okay, so what is the first thing I did? I did my research. So I pretty much got a little note card. It was just a little note card, and I wrote down each of my symptoms on there, and I found a research study to support that symptom. These included painful sex, pain down my leg, nerve pain, back pain, hip pain, pain with orgasms, endo belly, the digestive issues. I highlighted everything that I could on this little note card, and I found the research study to support it so that when I went into the doctor, I could say, look, I have this pain and it's related to this research study where they did a study over this population. It's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to do this research myself. I should be able to spend my time doing other things I enjoy because I did go to medical school, but this is how the medical system works. So if you can get a note card or a piece of paper, write down all of your symptoms, think of everything that you can think of, write it down, and then find a research study to support it, or some type of Harvard document or something that has backing, because when you're going to the doctors, unfortunately, you're going in for a fight. That's what I just realized. I realized if I have to go into a doctor for this issue after 13 years still, I'm going to go in having to fight for myself, and that's going to be based on providing research studies to support what I'm feeling, unfortunately. So yes, get your piece of paper, get your note card, write down all of your symptoms, and do your research. Do good quality research, write down those studies, write down what they found, even if it's just a little bullet point. That helped me so much because it also allowed me in my doctor's appointment to be able to say, to be able to remember everything that I was feeling, because sometimes when you're there you can't exactly remember, especially if a doctor is already starting to dismiss you from the beginning point, which many doctors have, and the first doctor I went to did. He just was like, why haven't you been on the pill? But that's not the answer I wanted. So you want to make sure you write everything down so when you get to the doctor, you can say everything you're meaning to say. Another thing I want to say, I realize this is a privilege. I'm on my mom's medical insurance in the United States, so I have an immense amount of privilege that I was able to do this. I actually booked several doctor's appointments. So there are different OBGYNs that you can go to. Obviously, I'm really, really lucky that I have a really good health insurance that I was able to go to different OBGYNs around the city. Not everyone has this, and if you live in a Medicare system, I'm not sure what your system looks like, because I know here in Australia when I make a doctor's appointment, they pick the doctor, and I don't really get another option. So what I was able to do, and I realized that I have an immense amount of privilege to do this, I made several doctor's appointments on the same day. And this is really, really important because I think it's really important to make them at the same time. And the reason I think this is important is because if you go to that first doctor and immediately they dismiss you, your confidence is gone. I mean, I made 2 doctor's appointments the day I wanted to get my possible endo diagnosis. The first doctor dismissed me off the bat. He just said I need to be on hormonal birth control, and that was it. And like, he apologized for my pain, but he was like, you need to be on hormonal birth control regardless of whether or not it makes you feel depressed. So after, because when you see that first doctor, if they dismiss you, you might be likely to go home and just give up, like many of us have, because we're used to being dismissed. But go ahead and have a second or third or fourth doctor's appointment booked for that day. So you have to go through with it. So I had that doctor's appointment at 8 a.m. and then I had one at 9:30 p.m. That means that even though my confidence was butchered, I already had that second doctor's appointment booked. So I had to go in and advocate for myself. I couldn't go home and just get sad and just think, why am I even bothering, and move on. So really important to make several doctor's appointments. And I got to my second doctor, who was phenomenal. I personally prefer a female doctor, but I know I've talked to some girls out of England who said they found that female doctors actually dismiss them more than male doctors. So it completely depends on your preference, but if you have the ability, book with several doctors on the same day so that when or if your confidence gets butchered, you still have to follow through to find a doctor that is going to listen to you. And then lastly, the thing I want you to do before you go to your doctor's appointment, use your connection. So social media is a massive tool right now. Get on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, find the Facebook groups, find the Instagram accounts. Type in endo on accounts on Instagram. You are going to get an immense amount of endometriosis accounts. I can refer you guys to some if you want any. Follow me on Instagram and I will send them to you. There are great tools. And when you use those connections, you're going to find symptoms that you didn't even think of. For years, I remember my leg pain. I had asked so many other girls and women about their periods, whether they got leg pain. They said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I just assumed it was just my thing, normal. I just had to deal with it, not being able to walk for 8 hours on the first day of my period. Whatever, have to do it. No, there was actually an account of an Australian girl who had just recently got diagnosed with endo that talked about endo leg pain. She had maybe 3 posts up at the time, and that very recent post said, let's talk about endo leg pain. And there were heaps of comments with the exact same symptoms that I had since I was 10 years old. So get on there, do your research, hip and back pain, painful orgasms, like all of these things. I was like, okay, I see how it's aligned with endo, but I had never talked to someone that would openly talk about it. My aunt had it, but we never discussed it. But getting on Instagram and looking at what other people's symptoms were made a massive difference, because I can say it wasn't all in my head. There are other people out there with this diagnosis that also feel the same thing. It's not in my head. So thanks for visiting, guys. I really hope this made sense. Remember, you should not have to advocate for yourself, but there's a few reasons why. The medical system teaches that we can just dismiss people. 2, pain has been normalized in women, and definitely women of color. And 3, lack of research and training when people are in medical school to become doctors. There needs to be more money. There needs to be more research. There needs to be more sympathy. There needs to be more history about how obstetrics came about in the United States. So thank you for visiting. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit like. If you have any questions or want to comment, definitely comment below. If you're looking forward for other videos, hit subscribe. And yes, that is all I have for this week. And thank you so much for visiting. I will see you all next week. Bye.